Hi, I'm Sarah L and welcome to the second episode of Boating New Zealand. We've got another great show for you this month with stories from the October edition of the magazine, including the latest reviews of boats to hit the water, a roundup of what's happening in the build-up to next year's America's Cup, and a look at a mini super yacht that could be your very own. First up, our powerboat specialist John Eichelscheim looks at the Fontaine Pajot MY40 Power Cat, which has just joined the ownership fleet in Auckland.
Today we're on a Fontaine Pajot 40 MY. It's the first one in New Zealand. This boat is part of the ownership fleet, so it's a fractional ownership scheme whereby you can own part of this boat. So far 3/4 of the boat is sold, there's still one share left. So this is a 40-foot boat, but it's actually it's a vast space on here. This is a massive cockpit, wide of course rather than deep, but still deep enough. We've got this great big settee across the transom here. The table's removable, nice teak work, teak decks all round, and it's completely covered so you're completely out of the sun. They've also got an electric sunscreen which can stop the glare on a really bright day, and of course there are clears that you can put on for a winter's day to keep it all nice and cosy in here. Really good access down onto the platform. The platform's hydraulic. They can also, as they have in this case, keep the tender on the platform. Ownership has also supplied a couple of bait boards, because this is a New Zealand boat after all, and we've got bait boards either side. But really good access, nice and practical, great place to swim from, nice and easy to launch the tender as well with the platform down. So this foredeck, it's big enough to play tennis. It really is huge, vast. Look, they've set it up with the cushions here. They've got adjustable backrests. You know, it's a really nice place to sort of lounge around. Drink holders everywhere in this boat. But down here in the well, there's a huge hatch cover, and underneath there is a massive storage space. It's big enough not only for these cushions and the fenders and all that kind of stuff, but there's room, I don't know, there's room to have a party in there. It really is very, very large. Now as an entertaining space, well, as you can see, it's pretty big. Great big table here. We've got some quite cool little lights here, little lights there for social times, a nice wee feature. Somewhere to sit obviously, and this galley is another feature that this particular boat has. It's one of the options from the factory. Now this is a European boat and they do like their sun lounging, so here's somewhere else that you can lie about in the sun if you wish, although this also converts into seating with a forward facing seat at the front and another one behind it. So depending on the weather or how you feel on the day, this is probably going to be the helm station that you use. Fully functional, it's fully featured just like the downstairs helm station. We've got the 15-inch Garmin display here, Volvo Penta, electronic instruments for the engines, and of course the full suite of electronic controls, including the joystick control for the IPS. This vessel's got a pair of Volvo IPS 500s. It gets along very nicely. In fact, it tops out at about 22, 23 knots and cruises very comfortably at 20 knots. And at that speed, I have to say, it is a very smooth ride indeed. So, large and stylish galley, nice white cabinets up here. We've got an awful lot of storage space in this boat, but this galley as well is really well endowed with storage. And of course, one of the things that ownership does is they make sure that these boats are fully equipped so that people can go out at any time. Don't have to bring all their own stuff, just a bit of food and drink, of course. Modern appliances, all Bosch. We've got a stone countertop, electric hobs, 2 burners on this one. And we've also got a dishwasher and a full-size Bosch refrigerator across the way here. So moving forward, it really takes advantage of the amount of space that we've got in here. And even though this has got really wide side decks, I mean, it's a really wide walkway around both sides, you've still got a mass of area here in the saloon. And this is something that you just simply can't get in a monohull. So that's one of the advantages of a catamaran. It just gives you all of this space. Very clever coffee table come dining table here. It folds out and it goes up and down electrically as well. Look, the space works pretty well. It's social as well for the helmsman. If he's sitting here at the helm, people can be down here with him or her and enjoy the ambience of the saloon. Plenty of light, lots of glass surrounding you, and the vision from the helm is of course superb. There's also sliding side windows for a bit of ventilation, and of course the rear doors open all the way up. They're bifold doors.
We'll we'll have some more on the MY40 later. Meanwhile, as the spring weather blows in, things are really heating up in preparation for next year's America's Cup. All 3 Challenger teams, along with Emirates Team New Zealand, have been out on the Hauraki Gulf trying to get to grips with these exciting yachts. Our cameraman has captured lots of great action. With just a couple of months to go before the opening round of the 36th America's Cup Regatta, all the teams are now out on the Hauraki Gulf and getting to grips with the weapon of war, the AC-75. With the light airs of winter blown away by spring gales, there have been some testing times out on the water for the 3 Challengers and defenders Emirates Team New Zealand, and it seems there's always someone watching if you have a bit of a skid. The Prada America's Cup World Series Auckland and the Christmas race will see the teams face off for the first time in mid-December. This will be the first opportunity for all the teams to race each other on their second generation AC-75s, ahead of the Prada Cup Challenger Selection Series kicking off in January 2021. While there has been a bit of argy-bargy over courses, by early November the situation had been resolved and the boats will be able to race on courses B and C in full view of spectator spots along the North Shore and the Eastern Bays. Emirates Team New Zealand are keeping tight-lipped about when their second boat will hit the water, but in the meantime they have continued trialling both first generation AC-75 Te Aihe and smaller test boat Te Kahu. Sailor and coach Ray Davies estimates that the team can now sail Te Aihe 15 to 20% faster after a year on the water, and watching them foil, you can really see they've got it nailed. The American Magic team would seem to be the front runner among the challengers at the moment. Kiwi Dean Barker will be feeling good about being back in home waters, and his team will certainly be ones to watch. Also launching their second boat in October was Sir Ben Ainsley's Ineos Team UK. They've really pushed the boat out with the design of their second 72, Britannia, and only time will tell if they've gone in the right direction. Finally, the Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team's second yacht splashed down in Auckland in late October and was soon showing off their striking golden yellow foils. It remains to be seen if any of these 3 challengers can overcome the strength and experience of the home team, but there's not long to go now before the first starting gun on the Waitemata Harbour. And when that flag drops, the talking stops. Welcome back to Boating New Zealand. Technology is impacting every area of our lives, even when we're out on the water. The Yamaha Helm Master is a new, fully integrated boat control system designed to make navigating and getting to your destination easier. Here's a look at how it can help you.
Yamaha's new Helm Master EX is a fully integrated boat control system. Now, never before has a single outboard engine been paired with a joystick, so this is a first for Yamaha and it's a first for any manufacturer of outboard. So the 2 functions that most sort of strike you is the drift point function and the fish point function. Now, drift point allows you allows the boat to drift and hold its heading, drift with the wind and the current, holding its heading all the time. So we're maintaining a heading and just keeping the transom facing in towards the shore. And that's just allowing us to slowly drift along past the island here. Fish point's another very useful function if you're a fisher person. It will actually hold either the bow of the boat or the stern of the boat over a point that you can select. So if you're deep dropping or you're jigging, or if you just want to hold your position relative to an object, it's going to do that for you. And this is with a single engine, which is quite unique. And we may need to bump up the speed a little bit here. We've got a lot of wind to contend with. We'll go up to level 2, and effectively this is going to hold us in position, or hold the transom of the boat in position. relative to the structure. In this case, it's the lighthouse. And again, from a fishing perspective, this is a very useful feature, but it has a lot of other applications as well, I'm sure. So Franco, this is an expandable system.
Yes, correct.
So where does it begin? What's the entry level?
So the system as it is has three basic levels. Level 1 being your DES steering, which is your digital electric steering, which features the new CL5 gauge.
That's this gauge here?
That's that gauge, correct. And then the new 6X9 single binnacle, your electric helm, and your DES steering actuator at the back of the vessel. So that's basically your level 1 system, which obviously has a lot of features to it by itself, which features auto trim assist. It features speed control, which is positioned on the remote control and can be controlled off the remote control.
So when you say speed control, you can set a speed?
You can set a speed at anywhere from basically 1,000 RPM up. You can engage the speed control at any RPM. It can either be done on RPM or on speed over ground, and then that can be adjusted from there, and you've got plus minus 10 adjustment levels going up and going down in the system.
We'll have more on that innovative technology later. Now it's sailing time. I recently got out on the harbour on the new Jeanneau Sun Odyssey 490, a cruising boat with a place for everything and everything in its place. Hi, I'm Sarah from Boating New Zealand, and we're here on this beautiful spring day to look at the Jeanneau Sun Odyssey 490. This is the largest in the Sun Odyssey range, a beautiful, slightly under 50-foot cruising boat. It's a very large boat. It's nearly 4.5 metres in beam, very high topsides generating lots of interior volume. We can also see this hard chine that runs all the way the length of the boat, and we'll talk a bit about that later, about how that affects its performance. Now we're aboard, we can see the scope of the boat that we're dealing with. We've got a lovely wide side deck here, substantial moulded tow rail, and then the side decks slope down into the cockpit. So here at the helm, again, you can see this massive beam, and the wheels are quite a long way apart. That's because it's got a twin rudder set up. The interesting thing about this wide beam, hard chine situation is that when the boat powers up, it starts to lean, and then that chine digs in and you don't get a huge angle of heel, which means it's really comfortable for cruising. We've got a couple of really big grunty winches here, another two on the cabin top for sail controls under that generous dodger. Plenty of space here in the cockpit. It's asymmetric, so we've got a really wide seat on this side and a slightly L-shaped seating area here, so you can fold up different parts of the table according to how you want to entertain. So inside this central console for the outside table, there's plenty of storage, including for wine bottles, very important. So it's down below that we really start to see the effects of that huge volume generated by the beam and the high topsides, and also we start to see those European touches of style, this nice curved staircase, the aqua upholstery, and little touches like these red lampshades. The galley sits here forward with plenty of bench space, a twin sink and a fridge freezer which is accessible both from the top and also through the side. We have a 3-burner stove, and the microwave is under the bench and rises up at the touch. There's a second fridge drawer here that's been selected by the owner, and there's lots of clever little storage solutions. This one here for rubbish, cups, cutlery, and then this whole unit lifts out so you can take it out to the table. And perhaps most innovative and French of all, there is in fact a wine storage area under the floor. So this is a big boat internally, and there are actually options to have up to 5 cabins, 2 in the bow, 1 each side here and another one where the nav station is. But this owner has opted to just have 2. He usually cruises alone with his partner, and also wanted to have a specific equipment room where he could store a lot of material and practical things for sailing without making the boat cluttered. So instead we have a double berth here under the cockpit, and it has a semi-ensuite bathroom which doubles as the day head. One of the other really nice touches is the massive owner's cabin in the bow. So often when there are lots of cabins, the owner ends up just with one the same as everyone else. Well, this one is like a little apartment. So this cabin is large enough to have a full queen-size bed, and it is rectangular, so there's none of this custom sheets. It will take sheets just from the shops. This space seems even larger because of the through-hull windows, the hatches in the ceiling, and also a lot of well-designed downlighting, which makes the whole space warm and welcoming. The yacht is well set up to sail short-handed, with all the lines running right back to by the helm. The main easy to hoist and drop, and the jib is on a furler as well. Because the owner wants to be able to cruise for 3 to 4 weeks at a time without having come back to port, this boat has a large capacity for both fuel and water. It takes 240 litres of diesel and 640 litres in the water tanks. We're out for a sail on a reasonably fresh spring day in Auckland with around 15 to 18 knots, and we were happily reaching it just on 10 knots, a new top speed for this new boat. The twin rudders mean the steering is light but positive, and even though it takes a couple of steps to get from side to side, tacking is a breeze. The owner of this boat has spent more than 20 years with his previous Jeanneau, and he really knows what he wanted. He specified this boat to suit him and his partner, and he will get plenty of hours of happy cruising in the Marlborough Sounds. It's designed to be comfortable to cruise with all this space down below, but also to offer reasonable performance. It is designed by a raceboat designer, and it does have aspects like that chine and the systems that will make it easy to sail. I can see the owner having very pleasurable holidays in the future.
The ultimate fishing system starts with Lowrance Hds Live. The best fish finding tools, from chirp sonar and fish reveal to side scan and down scan imaging, and complete touchscreen control from your trolling motor to your big motor.
Welcome back to Boating New Zealand. Let's return now to John Eichelsham and his look at the Fontaine Pajot MY40.
Here we are in the master cabin. I guess you'd use this as the master cabin. It's probably the most salubrious of all of the cabins here. Very often in a catamaran there isn't all that much space in the hulls here, but this one really has got plenty of room. So this is a semi-island sort of berth. It's a good size, at least a queen. You've got lots of storage to either side, plenty of headroom here, a great big picture window on this side, and there's also a sliding or an opening port for a bit of ventilation. I noticed that all of the cabins have fans as well, which would be handy in the summertime. The ensuite bathroom is here off the main cabin. The shower is a pretty good size, although it's reasonably narrow. The space, it is nice and deep, which is, you know, there's going to be plenty of room in there. So a somewhat different layout on the port hull. Maybe you'd call this the guest hull. We've got a good size double bed again here in the cabin. Not quite as much room to get around the bed, but still pretty easy to make and pretty easy to get on and off. So the second guest cabin, again, it's equipped with a double mattress. It's a slightly unusual shape because of the way the hull tapers up towards the bow, but plenty of room for a couple. Between the two cabins and the port hull is the day head. It's reasonably compact, particularly the shower. That's not especially large, but it is a separate shower cabinet, and this of course is shared between these two cabins. I'm speaking with Chris James from Ownership. Chris, this is the latest addition to the ownership fleet. What is it about this particular vessel that you think is really going to appeal to your customers?
What we were looking for is we wanted something that gave us a stable platform. We wanted something that was going to be user-friendly, so nice and easy for docking. And the biggest thing was sort of getting a full-size width master cabin for one of the purchasers.
It seems to me to have a huge amount of space for a boat of 40 feet.
It's an incredible amount of space, and if you compare it to the MY44, there's not a lot of difference. No. And you sort of go, well, hey, an MY40, it fits on a smaller marina berth. There's a ton of room for entertaining. It's just worked out to be the perfect boat for us.
Now you've up-spec'd the engines as well, is that right?
Yes, we decided to, obviously, bigger engines. Not because we wanted to go faster, it just you seem to find that you get better performance and better fuel economy with a slightly bigger engine, and it's not working as hard on the motors, which is that's pretty good economy.
So it's a pretty comfortable place to be. I can understand why this particular model is doing so well in the European market. I'm fairly sure it's going to be very popular here as well. Now, ownership have plans to bring in perhaps another one of these, or maybe an MY44, but whoever picks up the last quarter share of this vessel is certainly going to enjoy the space, the stability, and just the versatility of a vessel like this. You can travel almost anywhere at a good pace, very, very comfortably, and when it's time to drop the pick and enjoy the sunshine, well, you've got plenty of space to do that as well.
Starting in very little wind with an incoming tide meant those taking on the 120-mile race this year knew they were in for a long day and night ahead. More than 160 boats started this year's race, although fewer than 20 finished within the time limit due to those super light upwind conditions. After a slow trip north, the winner was Bianca Cook's Volvo Ocean 65 New Zealand Ocean Racing, in which she will lead an entirely Kiwi crew in the 2022-23 edition of the Round the World race. The boat ghosted over the Russell finish line at 3:58 AM on Saturday, becoming the first monohull to win the race in 11 years. That time was well outside the monohull record of 6 hours 43 minutes, set in 2009 by Alfa Romeo, and many miles away from the overall record of 5 hours 37 seconds, set last year by Trimaran Beaugest. However, doing the coastal is about more than setting fast times. It's the traditional start to the summer season. The prize for everyone who made it to Russell was gorgeous spring weather and plenty of socialising in the beautiful Bay of Islands before a downwind ride home. Now let's see some more about what the Yamaha Helm Master can do for you.
If we set ourselves on our way, can you show us how we would adjust the course underway under autopilot?
Yes, most definitely. So we'll just pick up a bit of speed here.
Sure.
And if we're going to be doing a course holder, it's as easy as pressing the button once. That'll engage the autopilot on that specific course. It'll also show up on the gauge. And then if we want to change that course, it'll just be the twist of the joystick once for 1 degree, or you can do multiple changes.
Is there a limit to how far you can change the course?
It's if you hold it and it goes one long beep, then that's 5 degrees, and you can stack that up to 50 degrees.
Right, so very manoeuvrable. So it's all about operating the boat easier, isn't it?
It is all about simplifying the operation of the boat, so you can actually focus on where you're going and concentrate on steering the boat instead of having to fiddle around with the engine.
So Franco, tell us a little bit about the keyless remote.
So with the new Helm Master EX system that they brought out, it also features the new EKS electronic key switch system, which has an incorporated YCOP functionality, which is a Yamaha anti-theft feature, and that also has a keyless fob which is waterproof and floats, and it allows you to actually lock and unlock the vessel.
And the anti-theft side of it, how does that work? What does that actually do?
So even if it does have the kill switch, it will still won't allow you to start the vessel without the key fob. If for some other reason you do lose your key fob, there is a code that you can put in the CL5 gauge to deactivate that system, and it'll allow you to operate the boat.
Brilliant.
Amphibious boats which go from land to water and back again at the touch of a button are the ultimate in convenience. Here we look at the Smuggler Strata 700 which will have you off the ramp and on the water in no time.
With me here is Rob Salthouse, internationally renowned sailor, and of course now with Team New Zealand. Rob, the Strata features the Amphibious Drive now. What is unique about this drive?
Well, it drives through the hubs on each wheel, so and it's got plenty of power, and the power steering it also is it's got a lot more power for being able to manoeuvre the boat in tight spaces. So it's something that's been developed with Smuggler and is a really nice feature for going out to a beach, or if you've got a beach house where you can drive your boat straight from the garage to the water and back again. Some of the main features with this boat and the Smuggler is that how they tuck everything away nicely. The earlier boats, you saw a lot more of the wheel and the drivetrain, and also that caused issues with water splashing from the bow, etc. When this is in the water, the front wheel is right up and the back wheel's right up, so you don't get any clashing with the water and splashing of water, and the bow one sticks right forward. The other nice feature is that the tubes go a lot further forward, so if you're using it as a tender, for instance, the wheel is completely protected, so if you bump into the boat or into the dock, it's not going to affect the wheel in any way or shape. Yeah, so another really nice feature and detail that Smuggler Marine do is the flange that comes off the hull. So the water will come up, hit the flange and go out, which takes a lot of pressure off the tube, but also helps keep the boat dry as you drive through the water. Yeah, so one of the other nice features that they've incorporated in here and the detail is the anchoring system. The anchoring system's tucked away in under the boat, so it's away from the stem, and you can see from a little camera which is hidden up in here, you can also see the anchor going down, so it's completely safe and nicely disguised. So one of the nice features on the 700 is that the outboard doesn't need to be raised at all when you come up the beach, so we've been able to drive straight up and there's no worry about hitting the skeg on the ground as you come up. The other nice thing with this boat is the feature of the ladder, so for getting up and on off the boat is real nice. But that's one of the things with Smuggler, that it's really strong detail and everything's been thought of.
So Rob, tell us about the controls for the steering, the amphibious system.
Yeah, so the system's all set up. You've got the PLC, or the control for the PLC through here, which is again really easy and reasonably self-explanatory. You've got a camera which is up front that's looking at the anchor and also the front wheel, and that comes up on your Simrad plotter screen that you can bring up, and then you've got your joystick for your fore and aft. Yeah, so one of the nice things about the 700 series is that it's small enough that it'll fit in the garages, and but is also designed as a super yacht tender. But I think one of the biggest things, the size of this boat and the space that it has in all the areas from the back of the boat right the way forward. You know, you can comfortably fit and seat 9 people on this boat, which is a lot for the size of the boat.
Once again, Smuggler Marine have produced a fantastic boat with the Strata 700 Amphibious. Beautiful ride, fantastic finish, a lot of attention to detail, and the Amphibious Drive of course gives maximum versatility. This could be a boat that's a tender for a super yacht, it can be a fun family boat coming up on the beach, or it can be a serious fishing machine.
If you're wanting to treat yourself to experiencing the adventure of boating in your own vessel, have a look at these quality motor yachts. Have you always wanted to own a super yacht but didn't have the space? This could be your chance to own something luxurious but a bit more manageable. Pacific Mermaid is a 105-foot or 32-metre mini super yacht designed and built in New Zealand by Salthouse. She sleeps 13 across 4 luxurious double staterooms with 3 additional crew cabins with their own en-suites. Multiple lounges spread over 3 levels offer ample room to entertain and relax in privacy. She has had one owner since new, a testament to her comfort and convenience, and has hosted many international guests, including being a VIP host boat at 2 America's Cup events. Following a recent spruce up, she is ready for your summer enjoyment, living aboard or exploring, as well as making the most of her charter licence for for the upcoming America's Cup. She's currently surveyed for 80 guests. The boat can easily be operated by 2 people or take along a couple of crew to take care of everything for you. Her steel hull and aluminium superstructure provide superior strength, and her large displacement hull provides the ultimate in comfort at anchor or at sea. She draws just 1.83 metres, so she can easily find a sheltered anchorage. All this for an asking price of $4.45 million plus GST. A permanent berth at Ōrākei is also available for rent or purchase. For more information, see www.pacificmermaid.co.nz or contact John Winter on 021 454 107. Well, that's it for this month's episode, and I hope you've enjoyed the stories from the October edition of the Boating New Zealand magazine. Go out and grab a copy. I'm Sarah L, and I'll see you next month.